All right. Hey, y'all. This is Bree from Spooky Happy Hour, and we are at the Haunted Liberty Theater and Museum in Nannyglow, and we have a few members of Three Souls Paranormal here with us. How are you doing, guys?
Good. How you doing?
Good. You want to introduce yourself for the viewers here?
My name is Steve.
I'm Frank.
And you're two of how many?
Four.
So we have half of Three Souls Paranormal here.
Mark couldn't be here, and Rob had to work today.
Awesome. So we have two of them. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having us.
How's the convention for you guys? What are you noticing?
This is we just started conventions, and it's one of the better ones that we've been at. Everybody is super nice. Everybody has a lot of good things to sell.
A lot of awesome people here.
A lot of awesome people, yeah.
Yeah, I think that was like kind of that whole point, right, of the Paraunity, and I think that you can like really feel it. We're all at each other's booths and seeing what's up and exchanging stories, and from all of the other interviews that I had today too, it's the same thing. Like, hey, you can tell your stuff, and you know that someone isn't going to be like, oh, that's dumb, or no, that's not right. And so, like, what kind of stories would you like to share from what you've experienced together?
You want to hear stories from here, or from the place that we investigated, Liberty Theater, or just the place that we've been to in general?
Give me your top three.
Ooh.
One from here, and then two
The
from
Virgin
other
House.
ones.
The Virgin House.
The Virgin House in New York. That place is closed down now for investigators.
Yep.
We was one of the last groups there. That was last summer, June 17th. I think we went there. The owner Katie and her husband couldn't have been nicer people.
The first time we went to the Conjuring House with Corey and Jen.
The Corey and Jen, the old owners of the Conjuring House. And John Huntington was there with them. He was super nice. They were super nice. That place is crazy active.
I was gonna say, did the Conjuring House live up to the perception that you may have had or other people have when you think of it?
The first time, yes.
Yeah.
The second time,
We didn't get much.
we didn't get much the second time.
The first time we actually had a camera rolling, and it was daylight outside, and the sun was out and everything, and our camera was rolling, and one part of the corner just kept getting darker and darker and darker. You know, so it was pretty wild.
Like this black mass
night outside.
Yeah, like this black mass is covered because they in the one corner of the seance room where Ed and Lorraine Warren and Caroline Perrin they did their thing at. In the corner, there was like an old grandfather. Sorry about that, Frank. Old grandfather's clock with a replica Annabelle doll, and that whole corner just turned completely pitch black in the middle of daylight.
Wow.
Yep.
That was one of the most craziest experiences that we've captured on camera. And then me and Frank was in the basement, and it felt like something was burning through my back, and nothing was there, but like it literally felt like somebody just stuck like a hot poker and was going right through my back.
And he turned the light off. Then we opened the door to go down. It was on. Yeah.
So that's actually on camera. The lights turning on and off in the basement. That's actually on camera. We captured that.
Yeah. So, and it's like, you know, you go to these locations sometimes, and you can have like a really lull, not active night, and then the next time you can go back, and it can be the most active location you've ever been to.
Right. And the third place for me, I would have to say Ohio State Reformatory.
Oh, yeah.
The Ohio State Reformatory was a good one.
Yes.
I have a love-hate relationship with that location. It was the first time I was ever physically scratched.
Something followed me home from there.
Yeah, see, it's like I want to go back and like, you know, rectify that incident, you know, but at the same time, it's like, maybe I'm good.
Well, we was on the second tier of solitary confinement, and we had a REM pod set up down on the confinement, and a one REM pod closer kept going off. And I'm like, okay, maybe the battery's dead. It's malfunctioning right now. So I picked up the REM pod, took the 9-volt battery out, stuck it on my tongue. You know, you can use it.
Yeah.
And the machine was off, and it started going off in my hand again. No
Without
battery. Without the battery.
Wow. And I mean, like, those are things you can't explain.
And what was also weird, I'm there videotaping with my phone, and all of a sudden you see them. You tell it wasn't dust. Like all these orbs were coming at me.
Yeah, they were like.
And that's what I said. I think something followed. I know something followed me home.
Yeah.
Well, here's the craziest thing. Him and my ex-wife, they walked down the steps to go into like the common area before me, and there was a group of people underneath of us, and they were screaming, like their flashlights were flickering on and off. And one girl came up to me, was like, "Were you just up there?" I said, "Yeah, why?" She's like, "We watched something black following these guys down the steps."
And we heard a growl.
Mm-hmm.
So you said something followed you home. Tell me a little bit more about what happened.
Something. Okay.
It's a good story.
Yeah. Now, my wife just left the house to go to the store. Heard the garage door open, closed, everything. So I'm sitting there watching TV in my recliner. And as plain as day as we're talking now, I hear, "Hey." Now, my wife's named Mary. I played it off. I said, "Mary, did you go anywhere?" That wasn't Mary. I know that. I'm trying to get my no. And I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden, I feel like somebody leaning over me, and my hairs on my neck started standing up, started getting goosebumps, and I just felt uneasy.
Mm-hmm.
So I got up, stood up, and I was polite. I said, "Can you please leave my house? You're not welcome here. This is my home.
Mm-hmm.
No, you have to go somewhere else." Sat back down. Then it got more intense. Like it got closer to me. It got to me. I stood up and I used some words that I'm not going to say,
Sure.
And I said, "You got to get out." And then after that, I felt better. I knew. So no problems after that. So
wow. Well, it's like when it's a very different feeling. It's like the thing that and nobody can tell you any different of what it is. And sometimes I think you have to experience it for yourself first before you really know, like, yeah, no, there's nothing else that it could have been. Like, I know what that was.
Like your body, like he says, I say, we all say, your body is it's the best equipment you can have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Absolutely. Every time that I'm in here, it's like really the only location that I don't bring my stuff to because everybody else will have them. So if I wanted to anyway, like, sure, I'll borrow one of theirs, but I'm getting more of that, like getting in tune with my body and my own intuition. And like when something's off, to pay attention to it, to not necessarily dismiss it, because there might be something there. And this location gives me all of the bodily type feels.
That's like when we were at the Conjuring House. We came down the steps and talking to Corey and Jet. Well, we were out there in the living room, and all of a sudden, and he had a closet there with all his equipment in it. It started going off, beeping, doing all this.
Mm-hmm.
He said, and all of a sudden, Corey and Jane come out, and we're talking to them. They're like, "Your stuff's going off." Yeah, that's never happened before.
Yeah.
Really?
He said that's never happened before.
Wow.
So that was pretty eerie.
Oh, absolutely. And what I mean from them too.
Yeah.
Who are there day in and day out and have so many different experiences, and that's never happened.
And they had some German Shepherds.
Yeah, and they were like
growling at the
yeah, one was growling, one was going, like panting and whatever. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like they were like they knew something was up.
Well, we've seen that before, right? Little children or pets or whatnot. Like, we have to pay attention to those things because there's something there.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I used to be a skeptic. I never believed in the paranormal until I've had a personal experience.
Me too.
And I think you have to, right?
Yeah.
You have to have them. And even after that, you still have this healthy amount of doubt.
Yeah.
Right? Because then everything turns into be paranormal. Or every spirit that you hear or see or whatever, it's a demon and it's this and it's that. And it's like you have to accumulate your experiences to know what it is or what it isn't. But you also have to trust yourself to know what you're experiencing too. How long have you guys been doing this?
We've been doing this. Our
2013.
Our first investigation was at Moundsville Penitentiary. That was Friday the 13th, 2013.
Oh, wow, what a way to start.
Yeah, that was and we was up in the infirmary, and we was sitting there with our little old school night vision camera with the spirit box and the voice recorder, and there's like this, I don't even know, like this, I don't even know how to explain it, like that bar looking thing, like you just like you drinks on or whatever. It's up there, and we're sitting there talking. All you hear is a bam right behind us. A rock was thrown at us from across the infirmary.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was like our first paranormal experience together as a group. I was like, and I looked down, you can see there's a rock sitting there. I'm like,
well, how do y'all know each other? Because you guys have been doing this for a long time together now. So how did you get to that point?
I met him through his ex-wife. I was friends with her.
Okay.
they all
so whenever you ditched the ex-wife, you ended up taking part of he's what you got in divorce or something.
Right. I got him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? got the house, I got him.
Yeah, right. Well, it seems like it's worked out pretty
Right.
well for you guys over the last 10 or so years.
We get along good.
So.
We're like brothers.
Yeah, we're like brothers now. But my craziest place, my favorite place, is the Bergen House up in Bergen, New York. Like I said, it's closed down now.
Mm.
The lady had exorcism done on the house. Her husband had exorcism done, and just the amount of activity that we had there, we actually had her haunted dolls talk to us.
Wow.
We were sitting there at their seance table, and she was up there with us, and I actually had a body cam. Mark had a body cam. He had his night vision camera, and we had voice recorders all over the place. And she brought down her haunted dolls onto the table. And Frank, what was the question you asked?
I asked the dolls. I said, "Are you upset that Katie brought you over here from off where your perch over there where you're at?" And we like her just like, "No." And then we turn around. Are you upset that we're here investigating? We hear, "Yeah." And it's like it was eerie, you know, and it's like it sounded like a little girl's voice almost, you know, and we didn't catch it. That's the thing.
Nothing was caught audio-wise.
Anything.
We reviewed that footage hand and foot
100 times just trying to see it or
like
find
the
it.
voice recorders. Yeah.
Nothing was captured. But
but that happens. They'll let they know that if they want to be caught, they'll let you catch it. But if not.
So I was sitting at the one side of the table. My little brother's right next to me, and the dolls were sitting over here on the table, and they were just like moving their eyes towards him. My little brother, and he was going like this, just like rubbing his head, just like all like intensified. And then a couple minutes later, you heard boom, boom, like right behind us. We both jumped up out of the seat, like what the fuck?
Yeah,
like this crazy stuff was happening all over this house. And they actually had like a security system, you know what I'm saying? So I actually had a camera recording their security system. And in the kitchen, they said they would see like things like crawling on the ceiling, and that was captured. We actually captured it. But other than that, like this white thing manifested right in the kitchen and stood there and disappeared again. Like that.
And went to the other room.
Right. And yeah.
You guys have gotten tons of evidence over the years.
Yes.
Is there a spot that is just you want to go investigate it so bad and you haven't been able to do that just yet?
There's a few of them.
Yeah, a few of them.
Waverly Hills.
Waverly Hills is one. There's one that was never open to the public to investigate. It was fenced off. Molly Stark Sanitarium out in Louisville, Ohio.
Okay.
Sweet Springs Sanitarium.
Like we've been to Molly.
That's at the top of my bucket list.
Yes.
Sweet Springs for sure.
We've been to Molly Stark because it is on a state park, and you could walk around the property. But it was an old tuberculosis hospital, and just.
I had my shirt grabbed out there, even just outside walking around the fence. Yeah.
Wow. Just even observing the property and just being on there.
Yes.
Wow.
We actually caught a figure in a window too, looking at us. So, yeah.
From all of the things that you've seen, has anything, and being a skeptic previously, has any beliefs that you've had been challenged?
All right. How I got into paranormal, 1995, my sister passed away. She died in a boating accident. And 2 days after her funeral, I'm laying in bed. And she came in the room as a full body apparition. And my middle name was Scott. And she was like, "Scott, next time you see me, I'm taking you with me." And disappeared. So I got into it.
Wow.
1995.
I mean, I think that's just a way to like throw you into it, right?
Yeah.
Like you almost had like no choice afterwards but to be interested or open yourself up to something like that.
Like I'm looking at my sister, like, I know you're dead, but like, why are you here right now?
Right.
Like, where did you come from? Like, why are you talking to me?
Mm-hmm.
Like, why aren't you talking to my mom, or why aren't you talking to my brothers? But she came to me and said it. Like,
and how did you take that message? Because
scared.
it's pretty ominous.
I was 15 years old. I was scared as shit. I'm sorry for swearing.
No, you go right ahead.
But I was scared as shit. Like, so now you're predicting my death. You know what I'm saying? Like, wow.
Is that something that you believe that other people who maybe have passed on know when your time's up? Or
I mean, they say when people are in hospice or whatever, and they see their own family members before they go. I mean, it could be possible.
Yeah. or maybe like that's like the person that's come to welcome you to the next life.
Right.
And sometimes I think like, you know, we're all scared. I don't care what anybody says, we're all scared. So when that time comes, maybe it is easier to go into that other realm at that time.
And that's the thing. I paranormal investigate. I love it. It's a hobby. It's a passion. It's not my full-time job,
Right.
but I'm afraid of dying.
Mm-hmm.
I'm definitely afraid of it because
I
don't know what's there. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And it could be glorious, but it could also be just hell. You know?
Well, and there's some other people, I think, too, though, that have theories that whatever you believe is what you're going to get.
Yeah.
So if you do believe that, like, you're going to go to this glorious gates of heaven or whatever, you're going to burn in hell, you might actually get that based on your own beliefs.
Right.
So, I mean, what about you? Have any of the beliefs that you've had before been challenged by your experiences?
Not really challenged, but you know, like I said, I was a skeptic, and my first experience was I was like 16 or 17, and we went to this. I'll try to make it fast now, but we went to this house that we heard a rumor was where this man and woman had an argument, and she was pregnant, and he was drinking, and he pushed her off the second-story balcony. She hit the ground, and her and the baby perished. He went in one of the back rooms and hung himself. Okay, so we're 16, 17 years old. I'm gonna throw some stuff out there about teenagers. We turn around and we got somebody buy us a case of beer. So we snuck in this house, and it was 7 of us. And it was a row home. So try to go and sneak in through the basement window, go through the basement, go up the steps, main floor, and go up the other up floors to the upper floor. As soon as you go up the steps, there's a bedroom right here, then a hallway that goes down there. Bathrooms here. Go down around the corner. In the back, there's a bedroom. That's the one he hung himself in the back. Well, we're sitting there. One person sitting on the toilet seat down. We're sitting lined up against on the tub. And there was a few people on the railings like this, so nobody can get by us.
Yeah.
But we also looked around the house before we got back to that
Making
spot.
sure it was clear. And,
yeah. So we're sitting there, and we didn't even pop a beer. I'm being honest with you. We were laughing all of a sudden. And we just all got quiet for a second. And then around the corner there, we heard a door open, shut, like the third one slammed. And we were just like all like looking at each other like,
who could that possibly be?
And we're going like counting.
Right?
And like we're all here. Nobody could get past us because we're right there. All of a sudden we got quiet again. We're listening. 3 footsteps we heard coming down the hallway. And it's like somebody stopped, like standing there, and you're peeking around the corner, like looking.
It's like almost you want to look, but you don't all at the
it's
same
like
time.
somebody standing there, like you ever go like this and peek around the corner trying to see somebody. That's what it felt like somebody was doing to us. So all of a sudden we heard them footsteps and it stopped. We got out of there. We started going down the steps, and then all of a sudden we heard like heavy boots like chasing us. We get downstairs, and I was a chunky little boy at the time, right? So I'm down there, but there are people passing me up. So we get down there. We let the girls go out first, and I was actually the last one out the window. So, but the street light was outside, shining right down near the basement window. So as I'm climbing out this window, something made me look back. There's a shadow figure. You see right in the doorway, another man door, and there was a door there, open. And I looked in there. I turned around, just get me out of here, help me out of this thing. Street my arms and shit. And then all of a sudden, this door slammed, and I'm like, that's when I started believing. Yeah. That was my first one, 67. And you know what the sad part was? We all looked around. Nobody wanted to go in and get the beer.
I was going to say, did the beer make it out?
Make it out.
No, beer didn't make it out. So whoever bought that house, there was a case of stale beer sitting in the tub.
You're welcome.
That's a homewarming gift.
Right?
From like 25 years ago.
Well, thank you guys so much for sharing your experiences and your stories. Tell our listeners where they can find you on socials to follow along with the journeys.
I do the Facebook page.
I run our YouTube and Instagram. You can connect with us on there. And one thing we really don't do residential because we're not mediums. We're not none of that, So that's just one thing we don't do. We really don't do residential.
Awesome. And I will have all of the links to their social pages so that you can go check them out on your own in the description below. So thank you so much for being